It's only 2 weeks.
It's only for 2 weeks.
Only 2 weeks.
It's only for 2 weeks.
They said 2 weeks.
Only 2 weeks.
It's only for 2 weeks.
It's only for 2 weeks.
What if I told you 18 months ago your children would still have to wear a mask to school? What if I told you 18 months ago the border would still be closed? What if I told you 18 months ago you'd have to keep track of everyone that came to your home? What if I told you 18 months ago, jab or no job? What if I told you 18 months ago you'd be denied health care because you refused to take a government-sponsored shot? And what if I told you 18 months ago that you'd be required to show a QR code to simply go out to dinner with your family? It's been a long 2 weeks. So this is all part of the Ontario vaccination passport. We're going to call it the Vax Pass from now on. Now, I've been telling people that this is Rosa Parks and Jim Crow 2.0. Why? Because I think it is. My family has a long history with, slavery, etc. Both sides of my family comes out of it. So I just wanted to tell you guys really quick, a couple of things that were actually law up until 1965. There was something called Jim Crow laws, and those were state and local laws, and they were enforced racial segregation. So you'd have to eat from a different restaurant or a different part of the restaurant, or get kicked out of the restaurant altogether, which is what happened to my mom. Or you'd have to drink from a separate water fountain, or you'd have to use a separate facility than other people. So there was segregation. Now this was called separate but equal. Did you hear that? It's called separate but equal. So you're separate but you're equal. That's hilarious. Move along, folks. Nothing to see here. And that was the doctrine. It came in 1896 in the case Plessy versus Ferguson in the Supreme Court, and it was a legal doctrine, which African Americans had to be separated. Now, what is the interesting thing here is we see the same thing going on now. That is exactly what this vaccination passport is going to do. It's going to create a second-class citizen. It's going to create separate people, but you're equal, so don't worry about it. You're going to get all the same equal treatment, but you're separate. I mean, you're going to be equal outside eating your burgers. You're going to be equal outside eating your fries. You're going to be equal, maybe shopping for your groceries online, because if you think for 1 minute that the government is going to stop this vaccination passport at a restaurant or at a gymnasium or a workout gym, you're completely wrong. This is going to completely suck our entire society in to a point where you won't even be able to go to Walmart without a Vax Pass. That's a fact, coming to a city near you, if you don't stand up. So, the doctrine separate but equal was a legal doctrine in United States constitutional law, according to which racial segregation did not necessarily violate the 14th Amendment. And like I said before, the doctrine was, it was confirmed by the Supreme Court of the United States, Plessy versus Ferguson, in 1896, and it went to 1965. And it's funny that it ended in 1965 because that's the same exact year that the last segregated school in Ontario closed that my mother went to and all of my aunts and uncles went to in Harrow, Ontario, SS number 11 on the 3rd concession in Harrow. And it still sits there to this day. So that school was closed in 1965. So in 1966, all of the black children were integrated with all of the white children. But like I said, we are seeing a second-class citizen. This vaccination passport will create a second-class citizen. This is Jim Crow 2.0. This is Rosa Parks going to the back of the bus. So if you guys want to go to the back of the bus, you can go to the back of the bus, but I'm not going to the back of the bus. Now, I just wanted to read a couple things here because this is an actual law based on Human Rights Code, and I just want to show you guys this stuff from the Human Rights Code. So this is telling you your rights, and we're going to just read the Human Rights Code from 1990. This is Canadian law here. Services. Every person has the right to equal treatment with respect to services, goods, and facilities, without discrimination because of race, ancestry, place of religion, color, ethnic origin, citizenship, creed, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression, age, marital status, family status, or disability. So Services, that includes restaurants, that includes gyms, that includes workout places, that includes the very thing that they are attempting to enforce on us now. So you can clearly see, based on the Human Rights Code, that there is a human rights violation taking place here, because they're saying that you cannot come into McDonald's, or you cannot come into Applebee's, or you cannot come into your local restaurant, have a seat, and eat your food there if you're not vaccinated. So, like I said, this is, in fact, Jim Crow 2.0. We just read the Jim Crow laws, and this is exactly mirroring what happened in from 1865 to from 1896 to 1965. There is no difference, and you can argue about, it's not the same. It's not the same. There's differences. No, I'm going to tell you right now, there is no difference. You can ask my mom; she'll tell you there's no difference. Now, as far as your employment goes, every person has the right to equal treatment with respect to employment, without discrimination because of race, ancestry, place of origin, color, ethnic origin, citizenship, creed, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, I need to catch your breath, age, record of offenses, marital status, family status, or disability. So, for all of you employers that are out there, like all of these different municipalities and all of these different places of work, you are also in violation of these human rights codes. You have no legal right to do what you're doing. You have no legal right to show prejudice towards any employees because of any of these things: race, sex, sexual orientation, or creed. And that's talking specifically about religious beliefs. So you have no right to do any of this stuff. So I would encourage anyone who is, their jobs are being threatened, or your employer has sent you a threatening letter, to just don't quit. Don't quit. Allow them to fire you. They are in complete violation of the law. And there's a lot more law that they're in violation of. But this is just strictly the Human Rights Code that I'm talking about today. So they are in violation of the Human Rights Code, and they can, legal action can be taken against them. Reprisals. Every person has a right to claim and enforce his or her rights under this act, to institute and participate in proceedings, that's talking about legal proceedings, under this act, and to refuse to infringe a right of another person under this act, without reprisal or threat or reprisal for doing so. Infringement prohibited. Number 9, no person shall infringe or do directly or indirectly anything, nothing, that's everything, that's all of it. That's the whole kit and caboodle, friends. You can't do anything that infringes a right under this part. So this is pretty cut and dry. You have the Human Rights Code on your side, and this is how you will attempt to get into these restaurants. If they are denying you service, I would simply carry this around with you, carry a copy of this around with you. And you can cite this. And if they still don't let you in, I mean, you have a choice at that point. You have a choice to leave, or you can go sit down and see what happens after that. But that's going to be everyone's individual choice what to do. But these, it's spelled out here. It's in white and black. It's very clear. You have a right to be treated as an equal citizen. You have a right to not be prejudiced against. You have a right to not be treated like Rosa Parks was. You have a right to stay at the front of the bus. We already did that. We already did the Rosa Parks thing. We already did the Jim Crow thing. We already did the separate water fountain thing, the separate restaurant thing. We already did separate bathrooms. We did that too. And me personally, I don't have any intentions of doing any of that again. Did I do it? Well, no, but my mom did, and she tells me all kinds of stories. Did I see some of it? I absolutely did see some of it. I grew up in a small town called Harrow, and 10 years after the school that my mother went to that was segregated, I was going to the school that was non-segregated. Well, the same teachers were still teaching there. They didn't leave. They were still teaching the segregated school, the white portion of it. And then when we began to go there, they were also teaching. Now they were teaching the white and the black students. So everything was integrated, but the same people were still there. So yes, I absolutely experienced a lot of this stuff. I experienced it going into different facilities when I was small. And thank God a lot has changed. But unfortunately, it seems that we've come full circle. And the powers that be, they seem to think that it's an educated decision to go back to Jim Crow and maybe they thought that they could do this without anyone noticing. Well, I'm telling you right now that I'm noticing, a lot of other people are noticing, this is Jim Crow 2.0, and it's not gonna fly.